Good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 4th, 2023, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9:00 a.m. You can join today's board meeting via phone. Dial 971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on the best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcast. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Okay, we've already called this meeting to order, so we would like to welcome everyone in the room, our guests, and request that you sign the guest list if you've not yet done that. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Yamamoto, will you lead us?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any public comments this morning?
We don't.
We do not.
No.
Okay. Well, I will quickly just let our viewers know, you'll notice that we have played musical chairs up here at the front of the room, and for anyone who's not familiar, the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners has a rotation of the chair position, so this year it's my opportunity to be the chair, so I get to sit at the center of the table. And Commissioner Bell is our vice chair for the year, and Commissioner Yamamoto is our commissioner for the year. So just in case you're curious as to why we've rearranged our chairs, that would be why. Okay, with that, I think we do not have any non-agenda items, so we will move right into our legislative administrative agenda. Item number 5 is discussion and consideration of a contract for goods with Knife River Prestress for the Illingsworth Creek Bridge Deck Materials Project. And we have Chris Lady, our Director of Public Works, with us this morning. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Speaking of bridges, so the New Year's Eve, December 31st, county crews went out that morning. We had a concern of a river, one of our bridges about to fall into the water. So what you're seeing there is the foundation for it's an 89-foot rail car accesses to residents back there. The foundation is in the water. This is a bridge that's currently under design. Reach out to the designers. It basically wipes out everything that the designers were doing. The whole course of the river had migrated, took out about 30 feet of bank. In addition to that, so we went out there right away and shored up the bridge so we didn't lose it. Worked with Randy Thorpe, Office of Emergency Manager, contacted Red Cross and started coordinating with 2 people that live on the far side of the bridge. Currently, they've made accommodations to cross the bridge by walking it. They've got vehicles parked on the far side, and one of the owners is going to buy a golf cart. That was as of Saturday. So we're working with Randy right now and seeking some FEMA reimbursements and the designers for that. But I digress, moving into our actual agenda item. So the Illingsworth Bridge is one of the Salmon Superhighway bridges managed by Trout Unlimited. This is a project that's running into a little bit of delay. because we do have a need to have beams in our yard, we thought it was prudent to go ahead and acquire these beams in advance, should we need them. And then when that project comes to life, then these beams we already have in our yard, and they can go out there. So we went out and sought competitive quotes from several different suppliers, and Knife River became the low bid. These are 7 beams, about approximately 48 feet long, 21 inches deep. And the quote for these, or the bid on these, is $144,867. To recommend approval and award.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Bell?
I don't have questions at this time. I'll just note that it's expensive to build bridges, and the beams, as I understand it from previous projects, are a good investment. They're a more cost-effective way to build bridges, so I support that.
And not only is it more cost effective, but when we do run into emergencies, which Tillamook County tends to do often, we have the materials on site. And so, Chris, again, I appreciate you looking forward and taking these steps to make sure that in an emergency, you have materials to make sure that traffic continues to flow in Tillamook County. Even on these small roads over bridges like this, it's important that we keep our roads open. So again, I appreciate everything you're doing here, and I'm in full support.
Perfect, and I would agree completely. You know, having beams for bridges in our yard has paid off more than once for us. So I realize these are for a specific bridge in the future, but they also are in the yard should we have something else happen in the meantime while we wait for that bridge project to come to fruition. So I'm in full support.
Okay.
We are ready for a motion.
Ready for a motion. Madam Chair, in consideration of a contract for goods with Knife River Pre-Stress for the Illingsworth Creek Bridge Deck Materials Project, I would move approval.
And I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Okay. Moving on to item number 6, which is discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Tillamook County Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. We have Joanne Wolfley, our Director of the Parks Department, with us. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning. We have been very fortunate to have Larry Rouse as a member of our committee for many years now, and we look forward to having him continue being a member of our Parks Advisory Committee. He's a valuable member. He has a lot of important feedback and suggestions, and he does represent part of the South County representation for the Parks Advisory Committee. So I am asking if we could please reappoint Larry for another term.
Excellent. Thank you. Comments or questions?
I'm grateful that Larry is willing to continue. He's a pleasure to work with, and I'm grateful for his service, so I certainly support his reappointment.
Thank you.
And I concur. Larry is one of the first people that I met when Terry and I moved to Tillamook County. And it's a great friendship, and he's a brilliant guy, and he's doing a great job on the park department. So
Perfect.
I would approve.
Perfect. And I also appreciate Larry's service and his willingness to continue to serve. I think we would be remiss not to use this opportunity to also just let folks who are watching know that our Parks Department is a special revenue fund of the county. It does not receive general fund dollars. The Parks Department has to survive essentially as a private business would survive by raising their revenues. And the Advisory Committee for Parks is a critical piece of sort of that business strategic planning, looking forward and helping, I think, with that particular department's, how they thrive. So I think, you know, we often say advisory committees, we love our volunteers, isn't that fabulous? And we do love our volunteers, and it is fabulous. And this particular group has a big task that they are a part of. So I just really appreciate his willingness to serve and also in support.
Ready for a motion?
Ready for a motion?
Madam Chair, in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Tillamook County Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, order number 23-001, I would move approval.
And a second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. We will go to item number 7. Discussion and consideration of a prevailing wage contract for construction with Billiter Marine LLC for the Memaloose Boat Ramp Dredging Project. Joanne, again, thank you.
Woohoo! We're
I know, right? I do feel like we should do that celebration dance.
Well, look at this packet that we have.
I know, right? It's not an easy task.
It's not.
A few hundred pages, light reading. Yes, we are in this home stretch for getting the Memaloose Dredge project done. And we put out the call for bids, and we received 2 bids back, and Billiter Marine was the low bid. So we are asking for your signature on this contract so we can make the touchdown.
Yeah. Thank you. Comments?
I'm thrilled that we've gotten to this point, and folks who've been following along know that we've been trying to get the permit to have the Memaloose boat launch dredged since 2019. And so that's correct, isn't it, Joanne? In the
Yes.
winter of 2019. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that we've gotten to this point in the project. I feel like, I don't want to jinx it. But it really, so can you tell us an approximate date? Is that in the contract? When are they going to do the work?
The work is going to, they're going to have to, we're already coordinating on an on-site meeting to confirm the dredging plan, and then that's submitted to the Corps, and then they commence work. But the work is going to be completed by February the 15th, so about 6 weeks.
That's great.
Wow.
Great. And I also want to thank Rachel for your help in this. I know you've been working on this. Thank you.
I concur. There have been a lot of great minds that have been working on this, and I know the fishing community is really excited, at least they should be really excited about us dredging again. Dredging, that's the wrong word. It's dredging. Joanne, appreciate all your work. Rachel, thank you so much. And for everyone else that was involved in this, this is a great outcome, it really is.
Completely agree. Looking forward to having this work done and recognizing that we can do it, I believe, one more time within our 10-year window. So we will look to make sure that we stay to the best of our ability and within our permits on top of this going forward. So, okay, I think we're ready for a motion. Let's make it happen.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a prevailing wage contract for construction with Billiter Marine LLC for the Memaloose Boat Ramp Dredging Project, I will move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do I hear any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Joanne.
Ooh, thank you.
Okay, moving to item number 8, which is discussion and consideration of a second amendment to the Granicus Service Agreement with Granicus LLC for short-term rental program online services. We have Sarah Absher, our Director of Community Development, with us this morning. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. Happy New Year. Before you for request for signature is an amendment to our Granicus contract. So Granicus is a company that we entered initially into a contract with in 2020 for short-term rental and transient lodging tax technical support. And so largely this is our enforcement program. This company helps us identify properties that are renting without permits. It helps us track data. We're using it right now. We're currently under contract to create a portal for online payments for the transient lodging tax filing. This is a company that bought out our previous company, Host Compliance. So we've actually had a partnership with them, I believe, since 2018 as they've evolved and the company has evolved and expanded. So in the suite of services that we receive with Granicus, before you is this contract to add what's called the short-term rental hotline. And it's a call center service so that if concerned neighbors want to reach out to the county, especially, or a contact person, a rental manager or the owner of a rental, outside largely of business hours. The county does not work Friday, Saturday nights, which is oftentimes when we see the most short-term rental activity. This call line will support service to Tillamook County to receive those concern calls, log them, document them, reach out to the contact person responsible for the rental. Everything is actually, the conversations are recorded. There's an opportunity to upload videos and photos of whatever the concern may be, so we have real-time evidence for burden of proof in determining if there is a violation. The hotline will also follow up with the contact person and then report back to us and give a report as to what the incident was, if it was resolved, if the contact person responded within the 20 minutes, etc. And so, as you are aware, enforcement is a big piece of the short-term rental program. There's a lot of concern by communities that the county is not adequately maintaining the enforcement component of the short-term rental program. In the work that we've done with the Sheriff's Office and others, we've actually pulled the 911 logs to see over the course of the last couple of years, how many calls has the Sheriff's Office received through either 911 or the non-emergency line, comparing that with our records internally of the complaints that we have received. And the numbers are actually surprisingly low. Part of why we think that is because many of our managers and owners are doing a good job of responding within that 20 minutes and helping to resolve the complaints. But we feel that it is important for us to be able to better assess and quantify how many concerns, how many issues, how many conflicts are actually occurring in these neighborhoods that we don't hear about because they are being resolved, which is a good thing. But when it comes to community livability and our efforts to continue to refine our program to address those community livability concerns, we feel like this will be a great tool in our efforts to better quantify and address those concerns. So the amendment for the hotline to be added to our services is roughly $9,000 annually. That includes setup and training for staff, so we will work with information services and others that we need to be working with to set up that program. If this contract is signed and we move forward, also there will be an education component where I will reach out to communities through CACs and community organizations to let them know that this hotline will become part of our program. We're hoping to launch it in March. We'd like to get it up and running by spring break. Granicus has, we've discovered through the TLT setup for the online payment portal, their company has not been immune to staffing and workforce shortages and all of the other issues that companies are facing with workforce and capacity at this time. But our goal is to get it up and running in March, and then it will be a great way for us to hopefully better assess some of those impacts and livability concerns and really have a better understanding of what's happening out in the communities and be able to be more engaged in helping to resolve issues where they need to be resolved.
Thank you, Sarah, and I will just step in as the liaison to the Short-Term Rental Advisory Committee. This is one of the actions the committee is very excited about, because there is a concern that neighbors are calling the management companies on a regular basis. And so the neighbors are very, very frustrated because every weekend they feel they need to make a call to complain about noise or complain about garbage or complain about, there's parking, all of those things, right? But what's happening when we pull numbers is we don't see that. We don't know how often neighbors are making calls because they are calling the management company or the owner of the home and it's getting resolved. So this is actually going to really open up for us a huge amount of data to understand what is happening in our communities, understand how frequently some of these particular properties perhaps are having a violation that is never recorded by the county because it's actually called in directly to the owner. But there may be certain properties where we do have more issues created with community livability than others, but we just don't know it. So the data from this will be exceptionally helpful for us as we determine how intensely we need to sort of, act on what we are hearing of community livability. So, should be a really helpful tool, and the committee is very interested in definitely recommending that we move forward with this.
Oh, thank you. My apologies for that. That is my phone. I silenced it, but I will take ownership of that. So I really apologize for the
Yeah,
disruption.
beautiful background music
Great
is,
ringtone, isn't it?
yeah, compliments of Sarah. So other commissioners, questions or comments for Sarah?
I appreciate the effort. I think it's great to be responsive to people's complaints or their concerns or their perceptions, and I support having then the ability to gather more data and to be able to say, we heard you and this is what we're doing in response. So I think that's great.
Absolutely, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what we're doing to the update to the short-term rental agreements and rules and regs. And it's interesting, Tillamook County has been doing this for, what, 7 years now, if that long, with transit lodging tax dollars, things of that nature. And yet throughout Oregon, we're kind of known as the leader in short-term rental rules and regs and how we do things. I've got commissioners calling me all the time, asking me, for a copy of our, what is it, ordinance?
Ordinance 84.
84, and they look, and we tell people, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We're more than happy to share, and they appreciate that so much, they really do. So again, we're another area where Tillamook County really leads the state, and we've got a pause going on right now as we continue to evolve our program to make sure that it's working the best that we can.
Right.
Not only for the short-term rental units, but for the community at large. And that's another important part that we don't want to miss.
Correct.
So this is a great next step. I think Granicus has also been moving forward and evolving as they see issues that need to be addressed. So this is perfect, and I'm in full support.
Thank you.
And hopefully it will take some pressure off the sheriff's departments and fire departments, who are the first responders, and who are often the ones that when someone has fireworks or something going on, they get called. And really, we can call that 1-800 number, and it can be dealt with by the management companies and the owners as it should be. So hopefully that will give a little bit of break there too. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Scar. So I think another important piece of this process to share. So the short-term rental manager working group that I started in 2020 in response to the pandemic, if you recall, when we closed transient lodging and we worked on a reopening plan, I continue to meet with them monthly and invited Commissioner Scar to join us, where they actually got to participate in the conversation with Granicus over this hotline. And they were largely supportive of this. They feel that the information of repetitive properties or where complaints are going where would be beneficial for their companies. And so they actually asked through those dashboard features if they could receive copies on a monthly basis or weekly basis for their properties as well. So it feels really good too to have the support of that industry, because they're also seeing the benefits that this tool may be able to provide for them.
It's interesting how once you get things started and if you work with them properly, how everyone becomes aligned and making sure that we've got the best plan moving forward in Tillamook County. And that's a great testament to what everyone is doing. Sarah, you're doing a great job there. You really are.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a second amendment to the Granicus service agreement with Granicus LLC for short-term rental program online services, I would move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Number 9, discussion and consideration of an order and resolution in the matter of the reappointment of Mary Faith Bell to the Northwest Oregon Housing Authority Board of Directors. Mary Faith Bell.
Thank you. I am the commissioner, the elected person from Tillamook County on the NOAA board, and it's a regional board. There are commissioners from Clatsop and Columbia County on the board as well. And I've served on the board for my first term, and I'm happy to continue to serve. NOAA's doing great work in the community, and I think it's worthwhile and satisfying work.
Wonderful, thank you, and thank you for that. It is a great organization. It's very important to our community related to affordable housing, They've recently hired a new director, which we're all very excited about, and excited about the opportunity to have greater engagement with NOAA and Tillamook County. So thank you for being on the board and going through that process of hiring a new director. I know that it, as with all things during the pandemic, the workforce shortages have been extreme, and getting someone into that position was absolutely a challenge. So appreciate all of your work.
I too appreciate it. This is another area where now Tillamook County is leading Oregon, and we've got commissioners from across the state asking us how we're doing these things. We've got AOC reaching out to us. We've got legislators reaching out to us, and asking how we're doing and how can they help. And we in turn ask how can we help other counties in the state, which is perfect. So again, this is another great area. Commissioner Bell, I appreciate very much your involvement.
Thank you. It just occurred to me that for folks who don't know, a NOAA project in Tillamook County, a recent one, is the Holden Creek Bridge apartment complex. And NOAA also has Champion Park Apartments, for example. So those are good examples of NOAA at work in this community.
And additionally, I think they have somewhere between 180 and 200 Section 8 choice vouchers, which people may be familiar with, where you're able to choose your own apartment and NOAA helps to pay for that. So it's another really significant piece of the network, if you will. And coming from, my background at CARE, one of the key things for helping people who are either low income or are transitioning out of homelessness into housing are those Section 8 vouchers, because they allow someone to transition from perhaps not having enough income to be housed, to be stably housed, and be able to increase their income and work toward a greater self-stability. And that's an important tool. So NOAA is crucial. Okay, I think we're ready for motion.
Madam Chair, in the matter of the reappointment of Commissioner Mary Faith Bell to the Northwest Oregon Housing Authority Board of Directors, order number 23-002, as well as resolution number R23-001, I will move approval.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Tillamook County Library Board. Mary Kay Bell.
I am going to shift this over to Library Director Don Elgier, who has joined us for this item, I believe.
Wonderful. I see Don up there.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you today?
Good morning.
No, thank you.
Good. I am pleased to ask you for the reappointment of Mary Faith Bell to the Library Board as the Commissioner representing on there. I speak for both myself and I think on behalf of the library and saying we've really appreciated the support and engagement that Commissioner Bell has provided to the Library Board and the guidance, particularly in my first 6 months on the job. So thank you very much, Commissioner Bell, and thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Don. There's been a little confusion. I am indeed going to remain the liaison
There
to
you
the
go.
Library Board, and I'm delighted to do so. I love serving on the Library Board and being the liaison. And in this order, it isn't named in the order, which is why you didn't get it. We are reappointing Sadie today.
I see.
Sadie
Excellent.
Logan.
Then in that case, I would love to ask for the reappointment of Sadie Walker. She has been really fantastic in serving as the chair for the Library Board, and she has been working to really help us get set up as we plan to do some strategic planning in this next year. And it would be a delight to have her continue on with the board. Thank you.
Thank you. I totally agree. Sadie's doing a great job. She's our chair. She's just an outstanding contributor and leader on the Library Board, and I'm super grateful that she is willing to continue.
And I would concur. You've got a great library board, and they do very important work. And as I tell everyone, I just mentioned this yesterday. Again, this is an area where we cannot do without our volunteers. These are all important positions, and great when people step up, especially when we have great people like Sadie that step up and become chair of the library board, et cetera. It's a great thing. It really is.
Absolutely, I'm in complete agreement. We really do rely on our volunteers, and Sadie is one of those folks that I've known for years, and she is always in the community doing amazing things, so we appreciate her leadership at this time on the library board. And I would be remiss if, again, I didn't recognize that the library is a special revenue fund of the county, so you're gonna hear me as we head toward budget season, in particular, talking about our different departments and how they're funded, because I think this is a really important thing for the public to understand. We have a levy every 5 years for the library, so you just voted on that recently and agreed to have an additional, I believe it's 65 cents per thousand on your taxes to support the amazing services of our library. So we appreciate that, but to recognize that your general fund taxes do not support the library in this case, it is a special levy. So just getting to know your county budget, that's one of my missions this year, is to help you all get to know your county budget, so. Hopefully you won't get tired of hearing that, but I do think it's really important for everyone out there to know how the services that you receive are paid for. So with that, I think we're ready for a motion.
Perfect. Madam Chair, in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Tillamook County Library Board, order number 23-003, I would move it.
And I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 11. Discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Tillamook County Tourism Advisory Committee, the TAC. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
morning.
I am recommending reappointment of Jeremy Strober to the Tourism Advisory Committee. He has been with us for 8 years. He's a very active, engaged participant. The TAC is doing well. We should have some upcoming rounds later this year. And he would be continuing to represent the South County Transient Lodging Providers for another 3-year term. It's ready for your consideration.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
I am very grateful to Jeremy for his ongoing work, for his terrific work in the community in so many ways, including TAC. I was also appointed to the original TAC committee with Jeremy, and so I've known him for that long. Well, before that, actually, because my son went to school at Nesquin Valley School with Jeremy and Aaron's kids. And so, anyway, I think the world of Jeremy, and I'm very grateful that he's willing to continue to do this important work.
Now we concur. I've known Jeremy since, again, Terry and I moved to South County. He's been a very active member of the community in South County, as well as countywide. We rely on Jeremy and all of our volunteers for so many different things. Jeremy is a good kid.
Okay. Perfect, and I would agree. I've had a chance to know Jeremy for a couple of years and just appreciate his service very much. So I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Tillamook County Tourism Advisory Committee, what we call the TAC, order number 23-004, I would move approval.
And a second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, thank you. Okay, the next item is board concerns. We've just read through our agenda today. Board's concerns, Commissioner.
Well, after this meeting, I am heading off to Salem to address the Board of Forestry, as we do on a regular basis.
Yes.
It seems like we don't always get as far as we want to go, but we can't give up, and we won't give up. There are so many ways that decisions made by the Board of Forestry affect rural counties, especially Clatsop and Tillamook County, because we've got the 2 largest state forests right within our borders, and we rely on this revenue. Interesting, so since we're talking about know your budget and all that, people think that, wow, we get so much money when it comes to state timber revenue. And we do. The check is written to Tillamook County. But when you actually look at the distribution of state timber revenue within Tillamook County keeps well less than 25% of the state revenue funds, state forest revenue funds. The vast majority, well over 75% of those funds go to the 20 special districts within Tillamook County. We're talking school districts, we're talking 911 center, we're talking North Coast Recreation District, talking about fire and rescue. So many different organizations rely on these funds, and for non-Tillamook County government, it's many times a large portion of their budgets. So when we run across things like the Habitat Conservation Plan and the upcoming Forest Management Plan, which have the ability to decrease state forest harvest, thus decreasing state forest revenue, the counties like Tillamook and Clatsop and Washington County and many others, it's a huge burden. And it's our job to make sure that we try to and make the Board of Forestry members understand the consequences of all of their decisions. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But again, it's a labor of love that we absolutely have to address the Board of Forestry, try to make them understand from our point of view, from a rural community's point of view, how what they do on a normal basis really does affect more than just the county. It affects all of our residents. It affects our school kids. It affects fire and rescue, 911 centers. That's the point we're trying to get across. So, again, wish me luck this afternoon.
Good luck.
Thank you
We
very
do
much.
wish you luck.
Thank you.
Because I think what folks don't understand is that our tax rate is set assuming that we will receive state forest revenues. And so the tax rate for Tillamook County was set with Measure 5 and Measure 50 back in the late 90s. It's not something we can change. So if we receive less revenue from the forest, we simply have to make cuts. And our budget is built assuming that we will not only get the property taxes paid by those who have property in Tillamook County, but that we will also get a piece of that state forest revenue fund to keep our county government functioning. And that's why we have all these special revenue funds. When we have run out of money, we have spun them off and put them into more of an entrepreneurial state so that we can continue to offer them. It's a difficult budget, and those revenues are important. So thank you for your work on that. Commissioner Bell, any board concerns for today?
I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year. And in the first meeting of our new year, I'm wishing all of us a safe, healthy, happy, prosperous 2023.
Thank you. Absolutely agree. Okay, we are going to go into an executive session this morning, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and do our other meeting announcements because we are not making a decision in this executive session. We will not return to this meeting with anything of substance. So if you don't want to hang out and wait and wonder, you don't have to. So here's what's up and coming on our meeting schedules. So the commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, January 4th, 2023 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. The commissioners will hold an executive session on Thursday, January 5th at 3 p.m. pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I to conduct a performance evaluation. The executive session will be held at the courthouse in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The executive session is not open to the public. The Tillamook County Compensation Board will meet on Friday, January 6, 2023 at 1 p.m. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 976-694-511#. The commissioners will attend a fiscal year 2022-2023 budget committee mid-year update on Friday, January 6, 2023 at 2 p.m. The meeting will be held in the courthouse in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. The commissioners will hold an executive session on Friday, January 13, 2023 at 9 a.m. pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I to conduct a performance evaluation. The executive session will be held at the courthouse in the Board of Commissioners meeting room 106, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The executive session is not open to the public. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is an observed holiday for the county and the Oregon State Circuit Court. All county offices in the Tillamook County Courthouse and the Tillamook County Library, administrative offices in the Jail and Justice Facility, Public Works Department, Department of Community Development, Surveyor's Office, and the Health and Human Services Department and clinics, and the State Circuit Court will be closed on Monday, January 16th, 2023. Okay, with that, we will go into executive session under,
192.66028.
okay, thank you. With that, we will recess this meeting.
Will, you can hang out and